You begin with strands of braid made of various fibers. You go to the antique chain stitch sewing machine, and that's fitted with attachments, and you make a hat. There are no pre-made forms or hat blocks, you and the machine. Sounds easy, doesn't it? Well, this is a very old technique, and it dates back to the 1800s. But that is the way Diane Harty goes about her business creating an amazing collection of hats. Actually, they're more art pieces. She lives in Frisco, Colorado. It's right off of I-70. And if you're going by, don't drive too fast because you might go right past it. But today we get to look inside and meet this talented lady and see how braid becomes art. Hi, Diane. We're excited to see your artwork come to life, and thank you for letting us in.
Well, welcome to the studio. I'm here with all my hats.
With all
and
your hats, and in a beautiful setting.
I love my little town. I wanted to show off some pictures of it because I think it's an amazing place to live. It's up at 9,000 feet in the mountains, but it's also pretty much a busy place because Breckenridge is 9 miles down the road. So it's got 5 ski areas within about a 25-mile radius. So it's a happening place here and for its size.
I guess so. So, how does one become a hat maker?
Well, I have a degree in South Asian Studies and Botany from University of Wisconsin-Madison. So I'm a Midwest girl, but I've been out west for a really long time. And I started cutting up old clothes and making hats out of old fabrics and selling them in Missoula at the farmer's market. And then I discovered this antique straw machine technique. I saw hats made out of straw braid, and I had to figure out how that was done. And I did some research. I flew to New York and got a sewing machine, and it was before a lot of stuff was available on the internet. So I kind of practiced and figured it out, and I fell in love with hat making again, all over again, in a different technique. And in the picture now, I'm starting with a tight spiral on the top and building it, and I'm using my hands a lot to shape the hat as it's going. I'm pulling and pushing from different angles to get the curves to happen.
So this is how they made hats 150 years ago.
Yeah, my machine dates back to 1880, I think, is when they started making them, and they used to sew them by hand before that with plated straw braid. And it's really fun to work with those little tiny machines. And I really have one that I use for almost everything, but I have backups just in case. They're hard to find.
So there's more than one machine that you use?
Well, I use the straw machine that you see in the video for actually constructing the whole hat. And then I'll do some finishing on a home machine that you'll see in the other shots of my studio. I do use a regular home sewing machine to do some of the bands inside and some of the surface designs, and then I do a lot of hand stitching on some of the finishing too.
Well, the hand stitching is what's really impressive. I mean, there's a lot of detail there.
Yeah, that's more with the bands and the accents and the just the little extras.
With the hats, there's so many different types of hats. I noticed the one that you have on now. I'm really kind of liking that. But a lot of your stuff looks like a throwback to the 40s and the 30s and even earlier than that.
Yeah, I love all the old movies and the old styles, and I just feel like they're so graceful and elegance to them that we're missing in a lot of the fashions. A lot of things that everyday fashions can be like that. And so a lot of my hats are pretty simple as far as they're not really busy, but I really take a look at the profile and outline and how they're shaped and how they proportionally fit someone's head.
Mm-hmm. Do you make the same hat more than once, or is each hat its own separate creation?
I feel like they're each a separate creation, and that is what makes it so much fun, and why I don't really get tired of it, is because each hat feels like its own piece, because a subtle difference in a hat can make it look a lot different on someone's head. So I'll do orders and duplicate something, but I always have to warn the clients that it's not exactly the same as the picture. I can try to get it the same, but it's not going to be the same.
I like your shop.
Yeah, it's a tiny, long, skinny little shop, but it has great windows, and I'm showing it in my messy state that it is usually in, because it's just too hard to clean everything up and have a place for everything.
You
But
know,
it
usually
works for me.
a lot of times the creative process does look chaotic, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Have you stayed primarily with making hats, or have you wandered into a different direction?
You know, I've thought about making bags, and I've bought some of the handles or clasps for bags, but I've never really gotten to it because I've just not run out of ideas and color combinations, and I just still really enjoy making the hats themselves.
Well, whether it be a bag or a hat, I'm kind of curious. What do you want to achieve when you're making your pieces?
Uh, well, I'll just show you. This is a stretcher that I have in my studio right now that's stretching a hat. I can spin it up and heat it up, and it'll make the hat a little bit bigger. So I have a way to adjust sizes sometimes. But, um, what was that again?
Yeah. Well, what are you trying to achieve? I mean, when you start making a hat, does it take on a life of its own?
Yeah, I'm trying to achieve something that just feels like it looks beautiful, and I want it to be something that just looks like it has a style to it, but it's not going to overwhelm someone. So I want someone to enjoy wearing the hat and not feeling like the hat is wearing them, kind of.
Looking at the at your collection, I can see the botany background. The flowers
Yeah.
and a really kind of organic type of design there.
Yeah. I
And what do you draw on that a lot?
Well, I really love textiles and the natural fibers. A lot of them are natural fibers, and they feel really like like plants in a way, because the straw is fun to work with, and the way it bends and curves, and the suppleness to it.
Where do you see yourself going in the next few years? As things evolve in the shop.
Well, I'm really excited to actually not travel quite as much, although I really miss doing the shows right now. Um, I see that I can do I have an online web store that I just set up a couple months ago, and it's been going really well. And I have over 120 hats on there right now. So I've been trying to learn how to get a workflow going with the website. And it's been fun because I can see what people really are interested in. And I've been getting custom orders off stuff that's sold already. So it's been just a learning experience for me, and I love people coming into my studio. So I've had a couple people come up from Denver for appointments, because that's about an hour away, and that's been kind of fun to show people the studio, and they come up and go out for lunch and have a day of it in the mountains.
Has it been hard for you not being on the road and not seeing your customers?
Yeah, because I always feel like they're my babies, and I get to see them go off onto their new homes. And I kind of miss seeing the people on them. And sometimes someone will send a picture, and I like to see the pictures when they get them. But I do miss interacting with customers directly and trying to help them find the right hat.
Now, to get a better look at your entire collection, and what's the best way to get a hold of you, and where can people go to see this collection, which is actually very impressive. I've had a good time.
It's The easiest thing is just directly to the website, because I have a little bit on Instagram and Facebook, and I try to keep up with that. But the website is really the place. Is DianeHarty.com.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to visit with us and to show us around. It's just been a joy to see you. And we want to thank you for joining us. and we welcome you to see another installment of the Thomas William Furniture Virtual Art Fair behind the scenes.